Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. And may I say, it is the nicest episode, I think, that we have ever had of Infinite Horizon already. That's right. This is
Nice.
episode 69 of Infinite Horizon.
Woo! Is there something
Long
funny about
awaited.
that?
No.
Can someone explain it to me?
I don't get it. Can you
There's
explain?
nothing,
I
there's
don't
nothing funny
understand.
about that at all. It's just a
Oh,
nice
okay.
number.
It's a nice number.
It's a number
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
like right before 70, you know?
I mean, very symmetrical in a way. You know,
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
the reversal.
Isn't
Yeah.
the
Six.
astral or the zodiac symbol for Cancer? Is that the?
Yes.
I think it is. I think it kind of looks like it. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway.
I say as if I wasn't a homestuck.
Good cover, Caitlin. Good cover.
Way to go. No,
It did
nobody
take me a
caught it.
second to remember which one it was, but we got there.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back to everyone. It has been a chaotic several weeks, but we are back now. So welcome. I don't remember which number we are in the season, but whichever number that is, it's the last one of those of Infinite Horizon. But yeah, welcome. We're pretty light on announcements this week, so we don't have too much to get into before we get into the show. What I will say is that just last night, our media club went up on Patreon. Our media club list went up. There's some good stuff in there. I have definitely not been dreaming about Pathfinder Kingmaker these last few nights. That's not a thing that has been happening. I have definitely not been playing it way too much. Don't talk to me. Anyway, but I have a recommendation for it in there, among several others from Freeman and John. So yeah, some good stuff in there. Many of you may have already seen it. If not, go check it out. I will say we have finished filming the first adventure of Beyond the Roll. So our
So good.
Such a shame that everybody dies.
I know, it's terrible.
Oh, TPK. Wow.
You don't fucking know what happened.
we don't know. We weren't there.
You weren't there. But yeah, so we have Jace and Cam's adventure in Night City. It is very fun, very chaotic. That will be up sometime in the next couple of weeks. We've got to do some quick editing and stuff like that and uploading and all that. But then it will be available to watch. The first episode of it will be available to watch on Patreon. So, yeah, I'm very excited for y'all to see it. It's so much. Nobody should have ever left Jace and Cam unsupervised. So,
Oh god.
What are you talking about?
which is a good point. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is a follow-up to adventure to our 3-shot back in November or December of Thunder and Blood, Cyberpunk Red. So we had a quick little follow-up. Takes place, I think we said what was it, 6 months later, something like that. I know we say it in the episode somewhere. So but you can check that out soon. We'll let you know specifically when it was coming up. Patrons will get emails and notifications in the Discord and all that kind of stuff, so you will not miss it. I think that's pretty much all I've got. Yeah, that's all I got.
Got one other thing.
Oh yes, Freeman.
Follow me on Twitter.
Of course,
I
how
have
could I
that
forget?
ready.
Sniped it from Drac.
No, I copied and pasted it in time to do it.
Yes!
I was ready.
Excellent.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, that's all I've got for Rule of Lore announcements. The schedule.
Oh, wait,
is
I
the
have
same,
one.
So same as usual. So Drac, what do you got?
I don't even know if I'm even allowed to announce this. But I'm gonna do it anyway for everyone here. You get to know this. I'm gonna be guesting on Into Deep next week, so that's fun.
That's right.
I'm gonna cause some chaos, so that's gonna be a ton of fun. So come and check that out. You're gonna witness me Billy live, which has been a long time coming, honestly, to get to do that live on stream again. It's been a while.
Excellent.
It's just gonna be fun.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot that they told us that we were cool to announce it. So
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was it's 1 week away, so I'm gonna ask.
yeah, no. Colin said we're good. So
Okay.
I completely forgot that he gave us the okay. So yeah. If you're excited about seeing Drac here on this show, just wait until you see Drac causing chaos.
Double trouble.
I just finished building my character and I am OP. I didn't realize I'm gonna use this build more often.
Amazing. So yeah, so if you want to see Drac on this channel again
OP.
sooner than Wednesday, being very OP apparently, Tuesday
Not that
at
that's anything new.
Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, you can catch Drac right here on In Too Deep. I don't think I have any more Rule of Lore announcements. So if any of y'all have other announcements that you would like to throw out here,
Power Play's back. We're coming into episode 3. We didn't have the full cast for the first episode, so it didn't feel like we actually started. I'm like, oh wow, we're moving into the 3rd episode of the season. Sundays, Q times. And also not a promo for me, but Omar is writing backstories for our villains from our villain episode we had a while back. And the first one went up and it's so fucking good. I can't wait.
Oh, God, I
I
need to
can't
read
wait
it.
for the rest of them. And he also wrote a poem. If you're on the Q Times Discord, you should just get in there specifically for the shit Omar does for Charity Street because it's amazing. He wrote a novel. He wrote a novel in character. Like, anyways,
Omar's a legend.
Whoa.
legendary, just
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. And I can't actually, I don't think we can actually talk about it yet, but just because I'm excited about it, me and Drac are doing something at some point in the future that will be maybe eventually announced, but
Yeah.
I'm very excited
Excellent.
about it. We can't talk about it, but I just need you to know that I'm excited.
How vague and enticing.
Mhm.
yeah. All
That's
right.
all I got.
Well, if there's nothing else,
Oh, wait, there is
Yes.
one more thing. Again, I'm not entirely sure if I'm allowed to announce it. They've been very slow about giving me, let alone anyone else, the details about it. But I'm going to be over on D&D Beyond's Twitch channel for a charity stream this Saturday.
Ooh, sick.
Like I said, they haven't told me any other details about other than it being on Saturday, so I can't tell you the time. I mean Sunday, but I can't tell you the time. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be fun, hopefully.
awesome. Okay, well, then I think with that, it is time for us to get into tonight's very nice episode of Infinite Horizon. And welcome back, everybody. So, previously on Infinite Horizon, following the revelation that Captain Iselik was the Alzirus agent on the Regulator ship, the crew rushed to save Mason after he was vented into space by a Syndicate conspirator. Thankfully, Mason's powers of adaptation protected him in the vacuum long enough for him to use his flight rig to maneuver into an open shuttle bay. Mason was far from danger, however, as he stumbled upon Captain Iselik preparing a shuttle for launch in an attempt to flee the RPS Harrier. Iselik forced Mason aboard the shuttle at gunpoint and jumped away before the crew of Awakener could intervene. While Bina, Teon, and Peach worked with the crew of the Harrier to trace Iselik's flight path, Mason pried the final pieces of the puzzle from his former mentor. Iselik confessed that he had been the architect of Mason's dismissal from the Regulators years prior in an attempt to save Mason's life from Syndicate retribution for being the one Regulator who was poking around in the Syndicate's business. The rest of his involvement with Alzirus, however, had been the result of learning a hard truth about the Regulators, that they served first their own interests and not the common good, deliberately allowing crime syndicates in the border world to survive in order to keep their own existence necessary. Landing the shuttle on a desolate planet the syndicates used to dispose of their enemies, Iselik challenged Mason to fight him to the death rather than execute him on Alzirus' orders. The two fought, but Mason refused to kill Iselik, even in the face of his former mentor's clear attempts to kill him. Mason subdued him and appealed to his better nature, offering him a clean slate to right the wrongs of his past. Iselik relented and cast his weapon aside and waited with Mason until the crew of Awakener arrived. After some assurances that Iselik intended to turn over a new leaf, they boarded the shuttle together and left Iselik's ship and his syndicate ties behind. And that is where we left off. So, I would say it's been a few hours since that all took place. Taeon having teleported the crew the crew and Iselik back to Awakener, so as to avoid any questions being asked about the obvious presence of Iselik. Mason returned the shuttle by himself, and through a series of brief conversations that were probably better described as interrogations, casual interrogations, the crew basically backed each other's stories to the regulators, and managed to convince the regulators that Captain Iselik had perished on the planet where he had taken Mason. So, where we pick up right now is sometime after the regulators have somewhat reluctantly let you all go. Not that they were trying to detain you or anything like that, but just like they wanted reports basically on like what had happened. Reluctantly, in that they are not convinced that they have gotten the whole story, but they are satisfied enough with what they are getting out of you. So basically, they said, "Okay, bye." And now the crew of Awakener and Awakener itself on its way back to Wire's ship. So where we pick up right now, I think we'll say that y'all are starting up in. We'll say you're starting up all together, meeting in on the bridge of Awakener. And as you are kind of finishing up, sort of recapping the events that took place, Jade, you can see he is sort of scowling. He says, "Wait, hold on. So we're just gonna help this guy disappear after everything?" Okay. Yeah, I guess. Should we, like, confine him to quarters or something? Or, I don't know, what? Okay. Really? That's weird.
Like, I can hear you in Zoom.
it's
but not-
I definitely hit the button. Anyway, you should be good now.
Okay, we're good. Hi,
good?
everybody.
Okay.
Heard.
Is it good? Can we be heard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are we heard?
I think it's good.
Yeah, I can hear us now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so,
Rewind. Okay.
the recap of that conversation was Jade. Well, you heard Jade's side of it. Basically,
We were just saying yes. Let's keep him to his quarters.
Agreed.
Alma nods and says, "Awakener tells me that he hasn't moved from the quarters we put him in since he got here."
That's good. At least it shouldn't be too much of an issue then to keep him in one place.
I can lock
Is
the
that-
door from here, unless you want to talk to him first.
I don't think it would be a bad idea if maybe we sent in Ari to maybe talk to him. He seems like he could maybe use a professional.
Ari, I don't think did
Is she not here?
I don't think she came with you.
Oh, I thought she was
Yeah.
here. Damn.
No, I think
okay,
she's
never
still
mind.
on
I think she's
Wire's
one.
ship.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, I
Never
think
mind.
Gabriel did come with you, but I think Ari stayed.
darn. Okay. Well, I guess no therapy for him.
Not until you get back.
Maybe
anyway.
later.
Mason, do you want to speak to him first, or do you think we should just keep it locked up until we arrive at Wire's ship?
I'll let him know.
Okay. So what's the move next, though?
We have to go back talk to Miras, don't we?
Yeah.
We need her
Is
to
that
hold
the
up.
next step, or do we have? Is there a step I'm missing that we have to do first? Did we get? We're good. We're good to the right. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I was not really remembering if there was another step in between.
No, I
Checks
think
calendar.
It's been a few hours, but it feels like it's been months.
Yeah, we need to get her to hold up her end of the bargain now that we've done ours.
yeah. And soon, I guess, because Ceylon probably isn't coping too well.
Yeah. Do we have any news? Has anything like?
Yeah, what are the
come
latest?
through? Yeah, is there anything new about it? Has there been any coverage? Do we know
Um,
anything else, or is it basically the same?
I mean, it's basically the same. Like,
Okay,
like,
cool.
it's not like Sulan is under siege. Like, it's been taken over. Like,
But I mean, it could.
yeah.
We just wanted to make sure
Sure,
nothing
yeah.
has changed. It could have gotten worse.
no, I mean, like, it's basically just it's the same.
Cool. Okay.
At the very least, there has been no news essentially out of
Okay.
Sulan.
We'll take no news as good news, I guess. Ugh. Okay. Miras. Back to the usurpers.
Alma nods.
Back to the ship. Then, yes. Yeah.
Alma nods and says, "I have the course already set in. We should be jumping in a moment or so."
Good.
Thank you. I'll go and talk to Iselik. So I'll catch you guys for some food at some point. I'm sure we could all use some kind of meal.
On it.
Yeah, now you mention it, I'm actually pretty hungry.
I could use a drink myself. So I'll catch up with you all in a bit.
Sounds good.
A message when there's food.
And Mason with of his trench coats is around the corner.
After Mason walks out, I kind of want to like address everybody, but also kind of looking at Jade and just say, I know we're letting Mason take the lead on this one, but does anybody think that maybe there should be some kind of consequences for this guy?
He wanted to die, and he doesn't get to.
I will be honest. If there are consequences for him, and is Ariel here?
Yeah, Gabriel's here.
Yeah. If there's consequences for him, they kind of make sense for there to have also been consequences for. I just said Ariel, but
I mean, I would argue that Abriel was in a much more vulnerable position than Iselik was. Iselik chose what he did. Abriel was pressured. She was blackmailed, essentially. Iselik, I mean, he chose to do what he did.
I mean, from what I understand, it seems to be to look after his family. Which, I mean, in my opinion, I'd do almost anything for my family as well.
Alma just sort of frowns and just says, also, not to be this person in the conversation, but what right do we have to render any kind of consequences?
It's also a very good point.
He has to start over. He has to leave. He can't be himself anymore. He functionally doesn't get to exist anymore. That's already gonna suck.
Yeah. Guess that is a pretty large consequence. Okay.
Byproduct of what we're offering, but like I said, he wanted to die and he doesn't get to, which I guess is also kind of a consequence.
Jade speaks up and just says, plus, if the Syndicate ever finds out that he's alive, actually, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big one.
Yeah. So he's going to be living with one eye open, looking over his shoulder at all times. I think that's more than
What-
enough of a punishment.
Whatever he does from here on out, it's his choice. But we get to give him a second chance. And then it's out of our hands. I'm gonna go down to the mess hall and start making food.
Okay.
It's just done with the exit the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
In Bina fashion.
Peach is satisfied with that.
We'll cut below decks as Mason, you arrive at the room where Iselik was sort of placed, and according to Alma, has not left since. As you enter, he is just sitting on one of the bunks and glances up at you and just says, "So, decided my fate?"
Yeah, I suppose your fate is to no longer be a Selec and to be someone else and somewhere else. And in order for everyone to feel secure, we're going to keep you locked up and keep an eye on you until such plans have been made.
Okay.
I mean, you're probably not going to move anyway, but for the comfort of the ship, I'll make sure that food is brought to you and drink and another blanket if you like. I mean, that I know what that blanket's like.
Yeah.
Not that you care, but
Well, I'm a guest on your ship, so whatever you see fit.
yep, that's it. Anything on your mind?
Oh yeah, lots of stuff. Anyway, think I might try to catch a little bit of rest.
All right. Well, that about does it. And Mason just kind of like pats on the door and kind of just gives Selec a nod and turns around and closes the door behind him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hear it. You hear it. The beep and the click of the mechanical the electronic and mechanical lock, respectively, immediately as the door closes.
Mason's going to walk towards. We're on his room. He's going to walk to his room for a bit.
Okay.
Room / office.
Sounds good. Yeah, as you're in there probably only for like a couple minutes when you hear the knock at the door.
And enter.
The door opens and Abriel is standing in the doorway. She looks in, says, "Can I come in?"
Please.
Yeah. She steps in and like looks around, moves some stuff from a chair and sets it on a table.
Anywhere's fine.
Yeah. She sits down, says, "So you doing okay?"
Well, I think so. I mean, I think I'm still processing it, all of it. Iselik, what he did, where it placed me, and just having the case being done with. It's actually done for the most part. I mean, there's still the syndicate, but at least it's not. At least there's no the regulators are not entangled with it. But now that I'm here and I've finished that task, there's a sense of relief and somewhat vindication, but I don't know what for. It's not like I'm going to the regulators again. I could care less about them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable to be feeling that way. I was actually referring to the fact that you got vented out into space, but...
I sure did. You heard about that, huh?
Yeah, I heard about that. She like lifts, she holds up, like, which you now notice she's holding like medical equipment in her hands, just came to run a quick check.
Mason just like pours like a couple of drinks and just like, I'm all yours, Doc.
Yeah, she starts running tests and running scans and says, still, that's a lot to carry. I mean, I got to imagine on some level that's been needling away at the back of your mind for years, this whole situation. Now it's, well, mostly resolved.
Yeah.
And, so where does that put you?
Oh. I guess I'm here on the Awakener, and Sulon is in the shit, and the entire universe is in even bigger shit. So, I guess that's the next thing to take care of.
Always another case, right?
That's right. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. She finishes up, says, it all looks normal right now, but I'll need to run some more scans from everything I've collected.
That's a lot.
Yeah. She sets the stuff down, and then just just sets it on the table, and then grabs one of the grabs the glass that you poured, and drains it, and just says, sometimes I think this will never be over, you know?
Yeah. There's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel, or something, at least something to keep us going as we progress through these crazy times.
Yeah, maybe. You ever think that that's maybe that's holding us back? I mean, it's always another mission, always another plan, always another goal. And we think, this is more important than me, right? It's more important than me, so we should put it off until we're done. You know, once this is all over, then we can focus on ourselves. But what if it doesn't end? What if we die doing this, still doing this? I don't think the life expectancy is particularly high for people doing what we're doing, but especially not the way you all do it. But even if we made it to the end, you know, if we lived a long life of fighting the corporations, what if it's still not over? This isn't exactly the kind of thing you retire from. It's done when the job is done. And if you're done before the job is, then somebody else picks it up after you.
Mason stands up and kind of just pours another glass, and then kind of like sits on the edge of the table. What would you do?
What, if I wasn't stitching up your stupid injuries?
Hey, I don't think we're gonna have a very easy time dying with you around.
No, you're right. You're all way too stubborn for that.
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah. Me neither.
I can't say it's at the bottom of this bottle because I've already said that a few times.
Suppose we could keep looking. You never know.
Mason pours another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She takes it, looks in it, and then she sets it back down on the table and just says, I'm gonna go run these. Maybe at least for today, just, she kind of like passes her hand over the bottle. She says, maybe just ease up, at least for today.
Doctor's orders.
Concerned friend.
I'll take it under advisement.
Best I can hope for, I suppose. She walks to the door, and opens it. And it slides open. She sort of stops in the entranceway and then just turns around and says, I don't know if I want this to be the thing I die doing.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Okay. She nods and then and turns, and the door closes behind her.
Ah, fuck. Wait. And Mason is gonna kind of just like try to pour her drink back into the bottle. It spills everywhere, and he's whatever. And then it's just gonna kind of like sit back in his chair.
All right.
I want to help Bina cook dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe a few minutes, if that's what you're doing right now. I don't want to cut to it if you're not doing that, but
No.
I
Go for it.
That is, yes.
I think that like Peach kind of like follows you to the area and then kind of like stands there for a second, like watching, and then is like, oh, like, do you need any help?
I need an emotional profile right now. What is happening?
I think Peach is how is she feeling? That's always a good question. I think she's feeling just like a little bit antsy and like wanting something to do, and also just like wanting to kind of like I think maybe she's also just like, you can sense like a little bit of curiosity, like she's curious to like see how Bina is as well.
Okay, yeah, all right. She'll just kind of like, I think she would have known you had followed her even if she hadn't like
Yeah.
acknowledged it. But she's like, yeah, okay, come on. And then she'll start like pulling just shit out of cabinets. Doesn't look like, again, as usual, doesn't look like there's any sort of like correlation, and she like lines it all up and just like encourages you to grab stuff too. And she like looks at it on the counter as you like start pulling things.
Do you think this root could be a good spice, or would you shred it, or should I dice it, or
I'm pretty sure that's a cleaning solvent, but
shit.
You know what? To each their own. I'm eating weirder.
I'm gonna put that one away. It really should be separated, I think, from the cooking materials and maybe kept in a separate cabinet.
probably a good point.
Um,
And she starts going through and taking things out, like putting things back that she's decided are not going to go into this meal.
It should also be noted that like Jade is in here too at the table,
Yeah.
like a little ways away. But he as he has taken to doing recently, has like basically headphones in, and has like basically has essentially like a physics textbook open. He's like reading about thermodynamics. Like he's reading about thermodynamics right now.
Oh my god. What a geek.
Yeah, so he's like looking
He's
through it.
He's trying to learn the science of his powers.
Yeah.
So cute.
So proud of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but we'll just start like pulling random things out. I don't know if anyone's like besides Alma has like helped being a cook before. But it is like so weird.
I think Peach is like wowed because I feel like the only people she has seen cook besides you is like maybe Vix one time and then like a professional.
Yeah. It involves a lot of sniffing things and then sniffing something else and then sniffing that first thing again and then sniffing two things together. And like that seems to be how she decides what would go well.
Did you cook before all of this? Before, we appointed you as our honorary Awakening chef?
Mm-hmm.
Did
I don't
your
remember where I learned though.
Did your parents teach you or did you just pick it up?
Well, a lot of the food stuff was different on the station that I moved to. So I kind of had to like figure it out.
Trial and error, experimentation. Very you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my parents did teach me how to cook, like, but with like homeworld food. So, I mean, I could get some, but it was never as good. When stuff like travels, it's usually dried. Or
have you
frozen.
made us any of your homeworld food before?
No, don't think so. It wouldn't be as good if we didn't get fresh stuff, but I can try.
That'd be a fun experiment.
We'll wait till we get to a place with at least some fresh. I might have to supplement some things, but I could probably get some fresh things from like a market. All this is dehydrated. She points and it's just like I think it's just like cans and like all of
literally just like a rack with like little packets slotted into it. Like those old like those I'm imagining like those old like the racks that people used to have like the CD cases in. It's like but like with like packets, little packets of dehydrated stuff. Basically.
Yeah, so this wouldn't be as good, but we could pick up some stuff next place we stop, and I could try something that is this an approximate. That would be fun. It's a lot of like veggies, like dirt stuff.
Sounds good. I mean, I'm always open to trying new food, so is this safe to do on this ship? And Peach kind of like in her hand a candle like appears. And like she's like, is it safe to light this in here or no?
Is it real fire?
It doesn't have to be.
Okay, if it's not real fire, then go for it.
Okay. Peach makes kind of like reaches back into her pocket. This is like so unnecessary. She doesn't have to do this, but she pulls out like a fake like LED kind of candle and then like sets it on the counter and like turns it on and it starts like flickering with kind of like multicolored lights.
Like is like a little like hologram candle
cute. Yeah.
Okay, fun. Okay, pass me those two over there. I don't know what they are, but I want to smell them. As you help her, as she starts making something that smells good but looks strange.
Kind of like after a while, we're just like talking and stuff, and Peach just kind of like not really looking at you, like doing something that you've instructed her to do, is just like, I came in here just to have a normal conversation for once. I'm gonna be honest.
Was this not normal?
No, this is a great. This is great. This is perfect.
You were okay. It was not a complaint. Understood.
No,
okay,
it was good. It was perfect.
I'm glad. Happy to help. Yeah, not about consequences and witness protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like to do it. Cook. And I mean it's like ship stuff. But it's not work,
Yeah.
Does that make sense outside of my mouth?
Yeah, no, it made perfect sense.
Okay. It's like regular, more regular than regular. It's more mundane. It's a nothing task. And then at the end, everyone gets to eat, so.
Perfect. Feel like we never have time for anything like that anymore.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. It's okay. We have a lot going on, but.
A break is good. Not that I normally sleep 8 hours at a time, but like just in the spirit of it, I haven't gotten a full 8 hours of rest in a long time.
I know I offer, but I can always help. I know sleep, hard to come by, just knock you right out, nice and easy.
I don't know. I think I would wake myself up anyways. I gotta do the little bits of sleep, just a bunch of them. I don't know.
What if we have you go through a dream of like a really cool conduit race, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, that was awesome.
Oh. But then if I win and I didn't win in real life, I'd be sad.
You did win in real life.
I did win it. I won a lot of times in real life. We should go racing again. Not yet. The universe.
Oh yeah, you want to go right now? I can take you.
No,
let's do it.
No, wait, no.
Yeah?
Wait,
Yeah?
the food is on the stove.
Peach like pours a glass of wine. One for I don't know if Vina does Vina drink wine? Peach pours one, but she doesn't know.
I don't think Vina's drank on the show. I think she always goes for something like specific and weird that is not alcohol anytime we've been in like an out establishment.
I poured you one, but if not, I can just give it to Jade. Is there a legal drinking age in this world? Is Jade old enough? Is Jade of legal drinking age?
He did make a big deal when he took a sip from Mason that one time.
Yeah, like he's probably just on the edge of it.
If not, we can always give it to our friend over there, who I'm sure is, listening and I just want to start like saying like stuff loudly to Jade, but he's not even listening.
Can I tell if he has like a focused vibes? Like,
yeah,
is he actually focused right
very
now?
like
yeah, he has not reacted. There has been no emotional peaks to anything.
Not at all. He is fully zoned in. Or maybe zoned out. It's hard to tell, truly. Like
both?
it's a little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah.
He's very focused, but also maybe not actually absorbing anything.
He's a little tunnel vision. I don't know how much he's absorbing, but he's definitely. Oh yeah, he's in that book.
He suddenly looks up and just like looks at both of you and goes, "Oh, sorry. Were you talking to me?"
Should the food be green or purple? I have a choice. I have.
He like stands up and walks over and looks at it. Says,
Because I can either add the berry stuff that'll make it green, or I can do like a veggie thing and that'll make it purple. Both will taste good. They smell good, but
he taps the berry one. He's like, I like this one.
Okay, cool. And then
he looks at you, Peach, like seemingly very surprised that you are here. Like he did not notice you walk in.
Good to see you.
Oh, hey.
She's my sous chef tonight.
Oh, cool. Sorry,
I should tell them that after in case it doesn't turn out well, and then I don't have to.
Oh no, you're bound to this. You're bound to this meal now.
I'm sorry.
Committed.
I know I said I was gonna help, but I was
That's
really.
okay.
Oh, that's okay. We got it covered.
Okay. Sorry.
Go back to
I've got
studying,
enough
you little
hands.
genius.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot to absorb in there.
Anything useful yet?
Maybe. It's weird.
How far is he through the textbook? Like,
he's somewhere kind of in the middle of it, but you're not sure. I mean, it's a textbook. It's not like you don't read it cover to cover. Like,
But he's been in it for a little while.
Yeah,
it seems like,
yeah. He shrugs. It's weird. It's if what I can do is manipulating energy, then it almost seems like, I guess I haven't really talked to Abriel about this yet, but it almost seems like everything that I can do is maybe just limited only by my understanding of what I can do. Does that make sense?
You have to make an agreement with the energy.
Kinda, yeah. Like I just
it to do that.
I have to understand what I'm even capable of, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it all energy, or is it just kinetic potential? Can I convert between them? It seems like I can, but I don't know.
It's a conversation, but you have to speak the language first.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And I don't really understand it yet.
We'll work on it. I bet we could find some lectures if you do better at listening than reading.
That's why
or
I'm
we
reading.
Could find some hands-on tutorials.
That's why I'm reading about
learning.
That's why I'm reading about thermodynamics right now, because if I can convert from different types of energy, like imagine if I could take heat and convert it into motion, that would be really interesting.
That would be really cool.
Right?
You store it up like a battery, maybe.
Exactly.
Or like
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still learning.
Cool. This is good.
So yeah.
He's just smiling, watching you guys talk about this, like, aw, these nerds.
Nerds. Your nerd friends.
So much for the normal conversation.
Hey, that counts, kinda.
I wonder what my powers can do.
I mean, it kind of sounds like, oh, I need help with my homework. You know, that sounds normal.
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
It is a little
Yeah,
bit like that. I think I've had this exact conversation with my dad when I was like in high school, and I was like, I just learned a really interesting thing. So,
Jade, you could always try talking to Mr. the Inevitable. You know, he's pretty knowledgeable about science and stuff like that.
That's
He's very
true.
smart. He knows a lot of things.
You see Jade get very excited, and then all of a sudden his face just sort of falls, and he just goes, "If we ever find them again."
We will.
One step at a time.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to reading
Oh, yeah.
because I was in the middle of actually a really interesting. I sort of zoned out. I actually don't know what I was reading, so I need to start over.
And you'll just do it. You'll just read it again, and maybe
It'll be
your
even better.
subconscious- yeah,
Even
your
better
sub-
the second time.
Your subconscious will absorb a little bit, and then the second time you read it and read it for real, I'm making things up. I'm gonna go back to cooking, and she starts to stirring.
I wish Olim was still here. Olim understood this kind of stuff.
Maybe we can get in touch with them when we're back.
Yeah,
Yes, I don't know.
maybe. Anyway, he like walks back over to the table and sits down, puts headphones back in, and just starts flipping through pages, like flipping back through the book, like, and like you see him like looking for the spot where he like last remembers something, and he flips way too many pages back, and then finally stops and just goes, and then keeps reading.
It's nice to see him excited.
I know. Gotta admire the commitment.
Glad I didn't have to study for my powers.
Yeah, I won't say drew the short straw because I don't think that that's very nice, but he definitely got one that requires a little bit more thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to ask a big question while we're you're boiling something there, but how are you? How are you?
Oh, like fine. I'm cooking. I'm good. Sleepy. Not really sleepy. Just like physically tired. Brain tired.
Okay.
Working on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a lot.
I know it's kind of a stupid question, but I felt like I needed to ask it even if it was a stupid question.
Getting there. How are you doing?
Feel a lot better when we're back. Have this Sulan problem figured out.
Yeah. I don't really know how that's gonna go. But we gotta get them. What's the point of having allies if we can't even protect each other, right? So
I mean, I know that we'll figure it out. We'll get there. We'll do it. It's just the waiting that's driving me a little bit crazy.
it's just everything. Yeah.
I
How
used to
far-
have. Oh, I kind of gotten used to just, snapping my fingers and things coming. So
Jumping in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not good at waiting either, which is why I keep my hands busy. And she has 4 hands doing all 4 different tasks on the counter.
I used to be really good at waiting. Like when I was in government, you had to wait months for anything. And Anzalonians move even slower because we live forever.
You just don't care. Yeah. Just
So it's
can take
like-
time and yeah. Ooh.
And now it's like, I have to wait 2 days, and I'm like, so much can change in 2 days.
When I was running freighters, I guess that's the closest thing I had to like waiting in downtime. But even then, there was still a ship to upkeep, piloting to happen. We were making stops, and if we were flying for a couple of days, I still had stuff to do. I was never really sitting still. Which is probably why I did that stuff, because I can't sit still for very long.
Well, you
Welcome
picked
to the
a
club.
good line of work.
It's suited me well so far.
I guess the line of work kind of picked you.
It did, yeah, a little bit.
Like literally, like it picked you up.
Yeah, threw me in the back of a ship and woke up on a failing one. Yeah, that was a good time. At least he had an easier time of learning in powers. I don't know.
Just sounds so fucking crazy when you're just standing there making dinner.
So much for normal conversation, right?
Yeah. He just takes a sip of the wine. Do you want to try this?
Sure. I'm gonna roll to see if she likes it.
Yes. We're sorry, we're just like making small talk for a while in
This is
here.
good.
Yeah.
Great,
Oh,
great.
that's a 1. She hates it. she takes a sip and like you see her like try to like be like normal about it and has to like set it down as like
You hated it.
I don't like that
Yeah?
at all. You probably like felt like a very
Yeah.
sudden wave of disgust because she was not expecting it. Like it looks like juice and sometimes wine like smells good, but it tastes so it's like so dry and like it shocks you. Yeah. That she was probably like optimistic and then it was so jarring that you got like a wave of disgust before she could reel it back in. She was like, no, I'm gonna get some fruit juice. And she goes to the
Like,
goes and like makes like
Yeah, even Jade looked up and was like, "What's going on?" Like,
Hey Jade, you want some wine?
it's not
Yeah.
good.
yeah,
She says over her shoulder.
okay.
Yeah, okay. And Peach kind of walks over and just sets it in front of him.
Oh,
And
good.
like Peach didn't pour Bina that much. It's probably like less than a normal glass of wine.
like a sommelier glass where it's like this
it's-
much, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a half a glass.
Amazing. Peach confirms her status as the wine aunt.
Yeah. Bina's making like the equivalent of like space Kool-Aid in the background, like just
I
like
wish-
juice from dried.
I
Yeah.
wish Vix was here.
Yeah. I just want to be back with everybody.
If you tell him I said that, I will kill you.
He's heard worse from me. I make him talk about his feelings.
Yeah, you probably have a little bit. I guess we both have success probably in different ways. I feel like you do it nicer than I do.
We bonded. I don't know if you ever heard about this. When he had his whole power lock, when he got locked on mine, and we were both hiding from people, but also experiencing all of their emotions.
I
We
don't
bonded.
think he never told me about that.
For someone who can sense emotions, he's also very emotionally stunted, so I can understand why.
Yeah, he's not exactly the type to tell me that he had a very good day bonding with a friend.
Heart to heart, brain
Yeah.
to brain. Yeah, emotions to emotions is good.
Oh. That actually makes me feel really good. And Peach is like, oh, my brother is making connections.
I mean, it's been a while since we've hung out. That was when we were stationary and going through it. But I don't think Bina would say it like that, but it's probably giving it. But, you know, I just, not that I don't know. We got stuff to do, and I keep thinking, I can't wait for it to be over. I want everything to go back to normal, but it's not gonna, you know. There is no
What's there to go back to?
what's there to go back to? You know, everything's changed. It was before it was our powers. Do I want to go back to before then? Like, that'd be cool, but now I know what I know, and I know you guys, and
Can only move forward.
can only move forward. Yeah.
We're not, I mean, maybe Taeyeon can move back, but we can't.
But he still has got his memories, you know? He's still
Yeah.
moving forward through his own life, even if he's going back in time.
Exactly.
So there's no normal to go back to, just a future that we have to find.
I think it's pretty cool that we get to help shape that.
Hope we don't fuck it up. And Bina's gonna turn and like start putting stuff in like the little cooker, and like she just decided that it was gonna be hot.
We'll cut elsewhere on the ship. Where's Taeyeon?
Like a
right
2-hour dinner process.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
I think Taeyeon is probably I think he's probably like with Ada right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably almost probably that as well. I think they'll be under bridge.
Sure.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of sitting there watching the starfield as we're traveling through and just goes, have any of you heard from the rest of the resistance?
Ada and Alma look at each other, and Ada turns around and says, "Nothing yet. I was sort of hoping that maybe once we get back to Wire's ship, maybe maybe they'll have an update for us, but yeah. We haven't really been in contact with Becker since we left, but yeah. I'm working on right now trying to do the thing that I suspect we're going to ask Wire to do, and forge some identities, an identity.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that she'll be. You can see Ada glances at Alma. They like share a look, and like you get the distinct impression that these two have this is part of you have stumbled into a conversation that they had been having while you were on the regulator ship. And Ada turns and looks at you and just says, "Wire's a liability right now."
Yeah, I definitely think we should do as much as we can without her for the time being. I don't know what happened, but she definitely seems to be in a more emotional place than we can let influence what we're doing next.
Yeah, I think Alma, Jade, and I were talking about it, and Abriel, and we're all pretty much in agreement that right now, and it's nothing against Wire personally. Obviously, we've all had our moments, but this one happens to be Wire's, and it just happens to be coming at the worst possible time.
No, I definitely agree. She's been an incredible asset, and honestly, if it was at any other time, I'd be more than happy to wait it out. But no, you're right. It's right now we need to decisive decisions and logical ones, and I don't know if I can do that right now.
Yeah. I imagine Becker will agree, but I'm not sure about Zaya. Zaya has a bit of a blind spot when it comes to Wire.
Yeah. I actually didn't consider that. I can try speaking to Zaya about this and see if I can, at the very least, get her on our side of this decision. I was thinking, if as long as you tell her that it's definitely not going to be a permanent thing, because I do think Wire will go get through this. I think it should be all good.
Yeah.
How are you two feeling?
Alma shrugs and says, "It's a lot to take in over the last few weeks."
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we've been at this for a while, but it still feels like everything in front of us is so big. Like there's so much to do.
Yeah.
It's how are we? I don't know. And when all of you are talking and planning, it feels like there's a direction, there's something that we can do, there's a goal, something to manage. But when I'm thinking about it just by myself, they attacked capitals of the most powerful governments in the galaxy.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming.
I mean, what are we gonna do? How are we going to go up against whatever they have happening?
Honestly, I wish I could tell you, but even from just what I remember, everything that's happened so far and probably will be happening from now on. Ada and I, and he like looks at Ada when he says this. We have nothing. It's veered so far, of course. I don't know what could even possibly happen, let alone what will happen. But I think in any situation where we find ourselves floundering, I think the best thing we can do is find some kind of stable footing first. And once we hopefully have the rest of the resistance at the very least in contact again, we should be able to organize and put together a plan for at least the short term.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's really the only move we have.
Yeah.
You can see that Ada reaches out and puts their hand on Alma's shoulder and just sort of gently squeezes. Says, "We'll figure it out. We always do."
Yeah.
Ada says, "I'll leave you to that," and just sort of points generally to the like consoles and says, "Can I talk to you for a second?" To you, Tan, and just points out.
Of course.
Yeah. As the two of you kind of walk out of the cockpit and it closes behind you, the door closes behind you. You're sort of walking down the corridor. She is quiet for a moment, and still looking at like the code that she's writing on her terminal, and then they look up and just say, "You make a good point. We don't know what's coming from this point on. We have no way of navigating this."
Yeah. It's been, I mean, it's not unusual in our time. Of course, we didn't know what was going to happen next, but I've definitely been running on at the very least, vague backbone of what I remember our timeline being like. And now that is so, of course, I can't even act on that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Because the reality is that the anomaly exists here, now.
Yeah.
Which means if this isn't the same timeline that we came from, then that means that anomaly doesn't just exist and travel through time. It's that thing is a wound in the universe. All of them.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't time to sit down and actually think about that.
I know we have a lot of things going on right now, but that, left unchecked, has the potential to render all of this, the corporations, these extra-dimensional entities, everything, completely moot. I know we have our priorities. I understand that. But that has to be one of them.
We have to consider that. Yeah, no, you're right. And now that you mention it, that could explain where it, I guess, goes when it's not in ours.
I actually hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
I imagine it'll take a lot of energy to be in all universes at once. I can definitely see it and imagine it fluctuating between multiple.
Well, we know it's not a vacuum of any kind. I mean, it genuinely it has an effect of some kind. It's not a void of any kind. We know that. Which means if it's existing and it's perpetuating in that way, it has to be perpetuating on something. It has to be taking energy from something, somewhere. But that could be absolutely anywhere, in any universe. or all of them?
Okay, I still have some of the calculations we used to backtrack it to this time. I can see with now this new knowledge, or at least hypothesis, if we can see anything else, notice anything else.
I still
even
have the
slightly different.
I still have the program that I used to calculate some of that stuff. With plugging in new input, maybe we can get something new. I don't know.
Yes.
At least find a pattern of some kind.
And also, now that we know that it was more or less created by the artifacts, do we have any readings left over from the time we had examined those? We could use some of those.
I've got some data, but that's all the data we're ever going to have.
Yeah.
I was talking to, in the aftermath, talking with Tanaris. It seems like every artifact everywhere just vanished when we did what we did. They're all gone. All the ones we know about, anyway. But we have whatever data we've gathered, which was precious little.
Yeah, but I guess every little helps to help at least reduce the margin of error in whatever results we get in the end.
I'll see what I can do.
Let me know if there's any way I can help. I have a decent understanding of time as well, and it seems like it's moving through time as well as space. Maybe I can lend my input. Maybe the data from my execution of kinetic energy could also be added to the figures, since we know some part related.
Yeah. I'll modify the program and see if there's some way that we can incorporate that into it.
Okay. Have you eaten?
Not for a while.
Teon grabs Ada's hand and goes, "Okay, well, we saw a bit before we arrive at Wire's ship, so let's go get something to eat. I think Bina's cooking something."
Ada looks for a second like they're about to argue, and then you can see that they just sort of exhale and just say, "Okay, yeah."
We work best on a full stomach, so think about it as pre-planning. And I'm gonna lead her to the mess hall.
Okay, sounds good. I think for right now it's a little early, but I think it is a good time for us to go on our break. So we're gonna take this moment. We're gonna go to break. Everybody stretch, get some water, move around, move your body. We'll be back.
Stretch your bones.
Yeah, stretch your bones. I don't know if that's like a thing that you specifically want to do, but like,
Figure it out.
you know,
Figure out how to stretch your
figure
bones
it
on a
out.
break.
Yeah.
I think Mason could do that.
That's true.
Wait,
Mason
totally
probably
could,
could.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We all could do it, but let's
Should we?
All right, everyone. We'll see you in just a little bit. We'll be back in 10 or 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We are back from break. Hopefully, y'all have had a chance to stretch, run around in circles for like 10 minutes straight. 15, actually. It was 15 minutes, more or less. Anyway, we're back. Hi, everybody. When we left off, the crew was in transit between... Oh, no. Hold on a second. Did the captions break everybody's stuff? Somebody else talk.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay, no, it didn't. It didn't. We're
Hello?
good. It's good. It's good. It's just because my words were the only ones showing up on screen. It didn't have like my name, like who was speaking. So
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, we're back. When we left off, the crew was in transit between the regulators, patrol vessels, and Wire's ship in orbit around the planet occupied by the Usurpers, a gang who has recently taken over the area. So we will be cutting a little bit ahead as you are jumping out of FTL in the vicinity of Wire's ship, which is currently in orbit. And as you jump out of FTL, I assume Bina is at the helm here. Alma glances over at you, Bina, and says, "Yeah, looks like nothing's changed here since we left."
Good, I guess. Yeah.
Um,
Calm, I hope.
She nods and says, "Yeah, it looks like it."
We hail. Is that how we got in last time? Or no, they hailed us. They were like, "We know you're out here." You
Yeah, pretty
dummies."
much. Pretty much. Alma just sort of says, "Oh, and right on schedule." You see as like a hail is coming in from Wire's ship. As you bring it up on screen, you can see Becker. His curly red hair and beard, sort of fuzzy from the just from any number of sources of interference. As he kind of like looks and says, "Good to see you all back. Everything go according to plan?"
Oh, well, it was interesting, but we did get the desired outcome, I think. So,
Great.
twists and turns.
yeah.
Same destination.
All right. Sounds good. I have a lot of stuff to update you on, but for right now, I think it's probably a good idea you check in with our hosts, and
Yes.
I'll update you when you get back to the ship.
Sounds good. See you soon.
See you soon.
Making her out.
Yeah. And he like cuts. Yeah.
We should hail. It's a planet? Planetoid?
It's
are they?
planet. Yep.
Planet? Yeah, hail planet side.
Yeah.
Just so they know we're coming. Even though I'm sure they know, but we can at least do the courtesy of like calling first.
Yeah. You hail him, and with a brief conversation with the like port authority, or what passes for one, with the usurpers, you get permission to land and are directed to a landing platform.
We do so.
Yeah. Before too long, you find yourselves planet side and walking towards Miris's office in the centrally located what was probably once some sort of city, like official city building, but now has been sort of converted into basically a fortress, and the headquarters of the usurpers. As you step inside, you don't have to wait long. You are almost immediately led to Miris's office, yeah, you as you step into sort of the long rectangular room, you walk over to her. She is currently standing with her back to you, sort of facing out the windows that look out over the small settlement. And as you approach, she turns and smiles and gestures for the seats. Says, "Welcome back."
Good to see you. Hope it was uneventful while we were gone.
As uneventful as it gets out here. Please have a seat. Can I get you some water? Something else to drink?
We just had dinner.
Right. She settles herself in as soon as you all are seated, and folds her hands over each other and just says, "So, I take it was a successful mission?"
Very successful.
Yes, albeit there were some twists and turns, but we did end up where we wanted to be.
Well,
Holding some very helpful intelligence.
fantastic. And so let's I'm sensing that you are not particularly interested in being forthcoming about this, so I don't have a lot of time on my hands, so why don't you just
We exposit. I don't know why we
Oh, we were.
Yeah,
Okay.
we exposit.
Yeah.
What happened? We give her tell her what happened.
You have no faith in us, and and we like pull out the like intelligence packet that we have, or whatever digital shit we have.
Yeah, she just snaps her fingers, and like one of her aides walks over and just inserts the data into a terminal and starts looking through it. As soon as he finishes, he nods and says, "Yeah, it's here." She says, "Good." So, I believe we left the terms of our reciprocal and agreement somewhat vague. So, from what I recall, you wanted some kind of support. Now, you mentioned supplies, you mentioned personnel, but I'm not sure exactly what it is that you need them for. So, let's discuss, shall we?
In the shortest possible terms, the liberation of Sulan. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but that's the basis.
I see.
What exactly? In order to kind of give a clear answer, we need to see what kind of capabilities you all have. No offense, but I haven't gotten any of those details. We don't know what your operations look like. If we had a clearer picture, then we could start to kind of piece together a action plan.
Fair enough. She stands up, says, "Why don't you come with me?" And she leads you out of the office and down back outside through the streets of the small settlement. As you're leaving the building, she turns to one of the aides at the front and says, "Make a call down to the foundry. Let him know we're coming." The aide nods, says, "Yes, ma'am." And you can see immediately gets on the comms. She leads you outside into the streets, and you walking through the streets again. The similar situation as before. She, as she's walking through the streets, people sort of, the passerby stop, greet her. She greets a couple of them and asks them some personal questions, and just sort of checking up on people. Before too long, you find yourselves in front of what looks like it was probably some sort of oh gosh, what are they called? A fabricator, basically, a fabricator facility. The kind that are generally dropped down onto terraformed planets with settlements to basically just produce whatever the settlements might need. These are things that are typically not. These are prefab units that are not typically given to most settlements. These are generally given to those with industrial purpose in mind. Which kind of gives you a little bit of an insight as to the original purpose of the settlement here. But it seems now to be entirely in the hands of the usurpers. And as you step inside, you are in sort of a small foyer area, complete with just sort of like a reception desk and waiting area. But Miris walks you right past all of that through the doors into the back room, which past like a couple of short corridors leads you into what is an enormous basically factory floor, which is to be expected given the type of unit that you knew you were walking into. However, this one looks like it has been repurposed. So as you step in, you see not like farm equipment and things like that are being manufactured here, but rather you see a bunch of autonomous mechs that are basically like set against a far wall, that all of which are sort of shut down except for one or two that are where you can see there are people who are like have like their devices plugged in and running diagnostics on them. But she sort of gestures around and says, "This is going to be the backbone of our operation soon. We just recently got the foundry up and running, and, well, this is what we have for the moment. Our,
Hey. We
Whoa.
can definitely work with this.
Venus' eyes are saucers.
Wow.
She just sort of gives sort of a sweeping gesture around the room and says, "Now, this is these are just the first models. They're nothing sophisticated. Certainly nothing that could go toe to toe with corporate, corporate mechs. But as far as used intelligently, they could be used to do precision damage to whenever applied. Probably not going to be the best for a full-on ground assault or anything like that, but
No. I can really see some uses. Once we get a bit more into on the status of Sulon, we could definitely put this into the plans. I can think of some things. Okay.
she says,
Bina holds up a hand. Can I see inside of one?
she sort of smiles at you, and just turns as Davik, and you see one of the mechanics sort of turn and look. A Keldro man, probably not that much, probably around Alma's age, maybe 25, 26 or so. And he kind of turns as she just sort of gestures, says, this is Bina Oba. Give her a look inside. Give her a bit of an idea of what we've been doing. He grins at her and nods, says, yeah, sure. Come on over.
God, she runs so fast.
As Bina just sort of like leaves a Bina-shaped dust cloud in the air. She
Oh my god, you know what? No. Light. She's next to him immediately. Like, she's very excited.
Yeah. That draws some attention from around the room, but Miris totally ignores it. Just sort of goes right back to talking to the Vesuvius. Now, as far as some of our, we can supply you. I think we could part with maybe 5 mechs total.
Okay.
Nothing substantial, but should be enough to be the vanguard of some sort of small strike force. That said, these are not our only resources. We have a few ships that we could lend to the cause. That said, none of them are particularly intended for combat. A few of them have been retrofitted for defensive purposes, with defensive capabilities, but for the most part, no gunships, things like that.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. I don't think we really expected it to be an all-out military here. This is actually a huge help, a lot more than what we had previously.
There is one thing. It's not a matter of negotiations or deals or anything like that, but I do have eyes and ears around the galaxy, and
That was going to be my next question. Read
well,
my mind.
I'm not entirely sure that I did. See, rumor had it before everything went badly for your crew. Rumor had it that you had a ship full of people like us, just sort of waiting in the wings.
Could you turn the ambient
Music's a
noise down a
little
little bit? It's too
It's a little loud.
That's weird because I didn't change anything.
just spiked
I
super
did not
randomly.
change anything.
Crazy.
Rumor has it that you had a ship full of people like us, rescued from corporate facilities, just waiting in the wings. I'm curious, what was your plan for these people?
I'm gonna be entirely honest. It was mostly to keep them safe. Everything happened very quickly after we managed to rescue them, so we didn't get much time to do much thinking, but I think we all wanted to, before everything went wrong, we wanted to at least give them the chance to live their own lives somewhere else. We're pretty good at undoing people's lives and giving them a second chance, so we gave everyone the option to do that. From what I remember, some of them were willing to do that, some of them wanted to stay with the cause, but I don't think we managed to actually do any of that before, like you mentioned, everything went wrong.
Some people split, right? Like, some people did.
No, As far as the people that you rescued from the facilities around the Prime Conduit, those people had still been awaiting processing. They were just basically being kept in a ship in orbit.
Okay.
Can we just turn the sound on a little bit more? I'm still having trouble.
There is basically no way for me to turn it down.
It's so weird. It's so loud to me. Okay.
Nothing changed at all.
Can we get you closer to your mic? Maybe?
That's about as close as I can get without
Louder.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so before, just in case you were wondering, no, we didn't plan on like forcing them to join us. We honestly even tried to persuade them, but some of them did want to, some of them didn't.
The main thing was making sure that they were able to make that kind of choice for themselves.
And a lot of them chose to fight.
Well, all I'll say is that I would. This is me asking a favor, not negotiating. As far as I'm concerned, the terms of our deal stand. But I would like to offer some of them a third alternative. So, I'll have some representatives accompany you when you return. Not just to head up my forces that will be joining you, but also to serve as something of a proxy.
You want to invite them to come here?
Well, you've seen what I was able to accomplish on my own. Think what a few more people like me could do.
I for one, I'm never going to say no to giving them the option. So
That's all I ask. I'm not particularly interested in forcing anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. As you can see, my operation here, many of the people here are here because they see no alternative. But it was still their choice to make. My operation benefits exclusively from people who believe in what we're doing. People who want to be here.
yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Peach, do you?
No, I mean, I think the more options that these people have, the better. The only thing is, I mean, have to be clear with them. Just because they're coming here doesn't mean that they're out of harm's way of this conflict.
Of course. I have never forgotten what was done to me. Doesn't matter that I was able to turn it to my benefit. So, to that end, you can consider yourselves and the Resistance, let's say, associates of the Usurpers.
Sounds
Very-
good to me.
It's a very diplomatic way to put it.
One thing I've learned of being in a position of leadership, you always have to hedge your bets.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Workplace associates.
You know, people don't tend to bet against me too often.
That's true.
Well,
Can I insight check her? Can I get an insight check on her? I just want to.
Do we roll dice in this game? Is that something we do?
is that what we do
I'm
here?
pretty sure
I want
insight, you don't
to.
even, I think inside like a spend, so
Spend,
we're
yeah,
still
you
not
can.
even rolling dice.
Yeah,
Damn it, I just want to roll a die.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
We rolled one dice tonight. It was to see if Bina liked wine, and it was a natural one. So
Okay, I could just do an insight spend. Too.
I mean, you
It's
can
fine.
make a check too if you want to.
I just want to get a read of her like disposition. I want to see like she's asking about other people like us. I want to like read what she means by that.
Oh.
Like I
definitely
just
could.
wanna-
I could definitely. I am. I'm trained in being able to tell through falsehoods and false dispositions and whatnot.
I am completely distracted.
I
Yeah.
got a 13. I'm just
I
as
don't
Olivia.
trust
I'm
her.
obsessed with Mira. So like I want to know everything
Wait,
about
hold
her.
on. You don't even know what you're rolling.
Oh, I just rolled.
I know. So,
Excited.
That would be, this will be an intellect roll,
Mm-hmm.
an intellect task, the difficulty of which, I think the difficulty of this is going to be 4.
Well, I already rolled a 13, so even without lowering anything. But I do have. What do I have for those? Pleasant social interactions.
Yeah. It counts.
Okay, so that's down to 2.
It's been a while since we've done a vibe check.
I'm just gonna spend some effort and then, but I already rolled, so
Yeah.
I mean, this is just for fun. I just want to.
Sure. Freeman, did you roll already?
Oh shit.
Sorry, I pulled my dice out and then completely forgot to actually roll.
So good at this game.
18.
Okay, I don't actually know what you were applied to it, but I'm going to assume that that succeeds because that would succeed even without lowering it. So all right. Sorry, I don't remember what your questions were, Olivia.
Vibe check.
Oh, I was asking like, you know, she's like, what is her like disposition? I wanted to know like what I specifically, when we were talking about like she was asking about other people that she wanted to invite, like I just wanted to like kind of read her intention. And then when she said like her the last thing she just said about us being acquaintances, like I just want to read on her whole
Sure.
kind of.
I mean, as far as that last one, that one's easy enough. She is, in light of everything that the corpse did to her, she's not obviously is not in support of the corpse, but also like you get the sense that she is like, she respects you and your ability to get things done, but also does not actually have any faith whatsoever that the resistance will succeed. So doesn't want to be a like fully committed alliance, in a fully committed alliance. That's mainly what she meant by that. As far as when she was talking about like people like us, I mean, talking about people with like powers, like talking about yeah. But I don't know. Did that answer your question? I don't know.
Did I get any emotion behind that? Like, what was
not really.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I wanted to know like how she was feeling and what she was doing, but
yeah,
that was good. Okay, I just love her.
Yeah. Also, it was a little late, but so Luna, thank you so much for the raid. Hello, everybody.
Thanks for the raid.
And yeah, sorry, Mason, you get pretty much the same thing. Like, there's not a whole lot. Like, there's not a whole lot there. The one thing that I will say is that like, it seems like this is genuine. When she asks about this being like more of a favor than anything else, she's being genuine, and you gather it's probably because you showed that you were able to deliver on the deal that you made. So she's a little bit more forthcoming with like a little bit less business-like than she was the last time you were here, basically.
Makes sense.
So yeah. So I'll throw that one in for Mason.
Don't worry, we're just getting warmed up.
By the way, do you mind if we have someone who's really good with software, and do you mind if you get them looking at some of these mechs and seeing if they can help upgrades? You know, this is very now. I feel like Ada could maybe make these work a bit more efficiently, at least on the software side. We have someone, and they like gesture to Bina, who can handle the hardware. But do you mind if we take a look at this?
Of course, on the condition that anything your expert can upgrade, they pass along any specifications to us.
I don't see why not. We're well-placed associates.
How cool are these mechs?
Okay, so go ahead as like basically like this
Important question.
This person Davik, who is now like seemingly like he is the like lead. You're not sure if he doesn't strike you as like a mechanic per se, more like just generally an engineer of some sort. And seemingly he's the one in charge of like running the systems diagnostics checks on these on the mechs. he's basically like showing you like all their stuff and just sort of rattling off a bunch of things about them very excitedly.
He's asking a bunch of questions, like really absurdly specific.
Yeah,
Like...
go ahead. I'm gonna have you also make this gonna be an intellect roll. I
Right.
don't think you're gonna need to make it, but it's gonna be an intellect task of 3.
Okay, mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have an edge that he's last one. Yeah,
Great.
Get it.
Cool. Yeah, you don't need to roll. So yeah, you looking over these mechs, they're pretty rudimentary, but like saying rudimentary for an autonomous war mech is like it's a relative thing. Like they are functional, but they are definitely on the lower end. She was not lying when she said they would not go toe to toe with a corporate mech, but they'll work as like a vanguard for a strike force, like she said. Yeah.
Is there anything, like, as I'm looking and as this guy's telling me these specifications, is there anything that, like, Phoenix would have a moment of, like, oh, if you did this, it would make them, like, a teeny bit, like, a little bit better? Is there anything that she could recommend?
Not, I don't think in the sense that you're talking. Like, there's, like, small tweaks in, like, logic circuits and stuff like that, but, like...
She would make them anyways, even if they're not going to make a mechanical difference
it's more, like... But as far as... They are very limited by, one, the schematics that they have available, and 2 by the materials that they have available. So it is very much a like hardware issue, and that there's not much that you can do about without having either like better schematics or better materials or both.
Yes.
So yeah.
Cool. She definitely makes a few comments about, oh, you can just bypass that entirely. Yeah, I know, it's weird, but you can. Like,
yeah.
So there's in the background, so that whole conversation was happening, and there's just like in the background is Vina and this dude talking a mile a minute, just like it's just quietly like 30 feet away.
Sounds good. Yeah. So as you're sort of working through that, Miris finishes up and says, I will have my representative contact you when they're ready to go. In the meantime, you're welcome to stay planetside or stay within orbit. Whatever you would like to do. You're welcome here.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Of course. Let me know if there's anything else that you need or want to discuss. I have a lot of things to get to over the next few days with the dynamics having changed so drastically between ourselves and the Alzirus Syndicate, but I might be able to find a way of fitting you in while you're here.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you take care, and I hope you give Alzirus. I hope you give them what they deserve.
She kind of like, she looks at you, Mason, almost as if seeing you for the first time. They takes a couple of steps towards you and is like standing like very close to you, like almost unacceptably close, like not quite, but just, and just sort of looks at you and just sort of like looks you up and down and says, "Spoken like someone who has a personal stake in whether Alzirus falls." Interesting.
What does that feeling smell like? I need to know.
It's just curiosity. It's just full-on curiosity.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Cool. Okay.
She kind of turns over her shoulder, like doesn't step away from you, Mason, but just turns over her shoulder to look at the rest of you and just says, "As I said, feel free to wander around the settlement or to stay as long as you like." She turns back, looking at you, Mason, and then just sort of inclines her head very slightly and then just walks past you, exiting the facility.
Venus shows back up from her conversation.
Oh, hello. Well,
Hi.
you were very fast.
Yes. I don't need to like move anymore to
Right.
get places.
Yeah,
I did just
forgetting
walk
about
though. I
that.
did walk up behind you. That was yeah. We need intel about what's happening on Sulan before we can do anything. 'Cause we don't know.
Yes.
My
anything.
thoughts exactly.
Do we need to go to
Yeah.
Sulan?
Can we get? Well, yes. I think we have to go to Sulan.
I mean, we
have
need
to
to
get.
do recon. We need to figure
Yeah.
out.
But like pointing at Tan, like, can we jump to Sulan or is that? 'Cause
I
don't-
can I can jump to Ceylon pretty easily, yeah. And I think if I understand Peach, you also can as well. So
Yes.
you won't
Yeah.
need to rely on just me too much.
Still
And I
see
can-
us coming.
Hold
What
on,
hap-
hold,
what-
hold on.
Awakener.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that all three of you can just jump places now?
I can only go this far, and she goes to the end of the warehouse and comes back. So no, there's
There's when you do that, there's like a clatter and clang and some curses as somebody gets startled by being a sudden appearance, and then just
sorry.
think about how bizarre that would be. Think about how bizarre.
Does it
Like,
make
you're
you
just like sorry, and it gets cut off and it picks up somewhere else, like further away.
Yeah.
Does it hurt
That's
your
hilarious.
feelings? Does it hurt your feelings if I say yes, technically? But you can fly.
Also,
And
you got sent out in space and survived it. So I think,
That really sucked.
yeah,
but yes.
I can imagine. So I think we all have our bonuses that others don't quite have. But I can jump us there. We all Peach can as well. But
Maybe do we need a rest first? I don't know what our
And I can peek into places that we've been before. I can kind of look
Yes,
at it
that's true.
as if with a camera, but
Maybe we
it
do that
only works
first.
on places that we have been before. Or do we have strategic in any location, I guess, that we've been
Yeah.
could be helpful.
Do you take a few brain peeks and then decide where and what we need to do if we get there? Because I think we can't
Yeah.
go in with nothing.
yeah, I also
Some-
think when Mirrors is a little bit less busy, or honestly just now, because since time is of the essence, they seem to have, like they mentioned, eyes and ears everywhere. Maybe they have some intel that they can share about Sulon as well to add to our map.
Like, can we just can I send just a ping to Miris or like her assistant or whatever to be like, at your earliest convenience, if you have any intel on Sulon's current state, send it to us if you hear anything, basically. Like
yeah. No, that's easily set up. So
I can't remember if Peach told us about this when they were looking. I think it was in Sulon when they're looking to Sulon and the
I did tell you guys about that.
Yes,
but
okay.
now I need to look through my notes to see exactly what I found out word for word because it was very
because those are literal ears and eyes everywhere. In
also,
Sulon.
are you having this conversation on the factory floor?
We should start
No,
moving.
I think we should probably start moving. Yeah. I know I'll definitely be moving to get
Sure.
Ada because I think Ada will be excited to check out these
Mhm.
next and hopefully maybe update us.
Oh, here are my notes for this. Ooh.
Oh no, that sounds.
Yeah, that sounds worrying.
No, I just remembered what that conversation was with the hive on Sulon. I
Yeah.
was like, damn. They were talking about the universe being malleable and small pressure must be applied to the universe. And,
Oh yeah.
that Silver Break is after the hive, all that stuff.
Okay.
So-
So yeah,
Mhm.
I'll definitely say then. God, I've immediately forgotten what are the names of the beings that take care of conduits.
Caretakers.
I literally just said take care.
That was just
Damn
an
it.
That was
undertaker.
beautiful. That was so good. That was so
Amazing.
beautiful.
You know the ones that they
Amazing.
like
They
the
take care of the
care
characters,
they
yes,
take
yeah.
care
Oh.
of
Care,
the
yeah. That was
No,
beautiful.
they-
Thank you for that.
God damn it. Do you think you can get in contact with one of the caretakers?
Yeah.
And they can definitely give us at the very least, more defined image of what's going on.
Yeah,
Down
they
there.
are. Their abilities are like very fascinating and a little bit terrifying.
It's very cool.
But yeah, I'll call them.
Thank you.
Yeah, do we have any way to contact the Sulon representative? The representative of the Sulon
I
hive?
don't know if they can take our calls right now.
Well, that's fair, but I mean,
Like,
we
are
know
they
them.
dead or are they?
Yeah,
like,
that's
in
what I'm saying. Like,
jail?
we know them, and like, can you spy on like people specifically, or does it have to be a location?
That's a good
I don't even know if that would work because
question.
they're technically a multiple consciousness, and I don't know how that affects the dream powers. Like,
Also, Olivia, your captions broke, so I'm sending you a new link.
Oh,
We're
great!
so good at
Invalid
this.
link. Great for the first time. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
so I think are we heading back to Awakener? Do we want to go back, or do we want to hang out planetside?
I think we should go
I think we
back
head
to Awakener.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we start walking back.
Okay,
back
sounds
to
good.
ship.
Yeah. Yeah, so back on Awakener, you return. Not a whole lot has changed, but when you do get there, you see Riot is like taking their stuff out of the temporary quarters that you had them set up in, and they look at all of you and say, "Well, I can't say it was very exciting, but I appreciate being able to come along, I suppose. I was helping your friend there, Ada, with the ident docs. And I think we got it all sorted. I'm pretty sure we got it all sorted.
Perfect. Okay.
So, I suppose I'll be seeing you around, or maybe not.
Question. What type of forging are you proficient at?
Pretty much every kind.
What forge documents did we need?
That's what she's just said, or that's what they just said they were working on, right? Or no?
Yeah. The identity cards for Iselic.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they were working on that. They more or less finished.
I heard Iden, which isn't that the shapeshifter?
No, ident, like identity.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, what's going on? I forgot whatever
I
that
also
plot
did
line
as
is.
well.
So I was like,
wait.
okay, wait. Cool.
But then I remembered it's identity, so yeah.
Thanks. Okay, never mind.
No, you're good.
I was like, wow, I totally forgot whatever was happening with that. Nothing. I'm just.
Riot, you are a person of many talents.
Well, mostly just the two. They like tap their like equipment on one end and then just so.
I'm not sure if that's a talent, but
not the way you do it, I'm sure.
Okay, Riot. No offense, but don't really have time for you right now.
Oh.
Well, that's very. I appreciate how straightforward that was, and.
It was good to see you, Riot. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it was great. We were in the middle of.
Sure, no, I understand that absolutely. No, it makes sense.
Do you want to come with?
Not even a little bit.
Are you sure? It would be. You can hang
going
out.
on a doomed spaceship on just
fun.
a lost cause. Lost causes aren't really my thing. So.
Really, I feel like
Share
lost
some
causes are
dudes?
entirely your thing.
No, my lost causes are my thing, but because I have a personal vested interest in them.
Of course.
You don't have a personal vested interest in us?
I'm not sure if you want me to answer that question honestly, or if I should just leave. I think I'm gonna go with the latter.
Yeah.
Safe travels, everyone.
Take care, Riot.
They just sort of take off down the street.
I adore them.
Me too. Even though I kicked them out.
But yeah, you once again on Awakener, you Alma is sort of up above, leaning on the catwalk, on the kind of like the railing, and leans down, looking down into the hold, and she says, "We taking off?"
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll get it going. And she disappears back towards the bridge.
Okay.
Oh.
Do you want to fill everyone in and then do brain recon?
Yeah, let's
Quickly.
let's do brain recon first. Actually, might as well. Then we can just fill everyone in on what we learned from the
That's
brain
fair.
recon
Yeah.
as well.
Let's head up to the
Debrief all at
observatory.
once.
Yeah. Head up to
Yeah.
the observatory and get everything else get going.
Okay.
Right. So
Observation deck. Observatory.
that was what I was thinking as well.
Okay. So what are you doing right now?
So I want to try. Do we want to try to contact the Ceylon representative first, or should I just try to contact the Hive? What do we feel?
I think the Hive will probably have more information than the Ceylon representative, honestly.
Yeah.
We're all connected. The Ceylon representative can just talk to us.
Oh, the Ceylon representative of the Hive. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I wasn't very clear. That the Ceylon representative of the.
Oh, okay.
Ceylon
I thought you
Hive.
meant like our officials that we knew.
No, I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with them. They probably can't give us much info.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
Okay,
Also,
yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think you can
Yeah.
talk to them.
They're
Yeah, that's
probably-
that's why
yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know how we would even.
You
Okay,
you
yeah,
also
so-
We
can't.
could look
The thing
in.
is, in reality, you can't really talk to the Hive either.
I can
That's what
try.
I'm saying.
Damn it.
Well, that's why I'm saying they kind of like have this like weird extra sensory thing.
Yeah,
And
that's
so the Hive. The
they can
caretakers
talk
themselves-
to you, but you
Yes.
can't talk to
Yeah.
them.
Exactly. Yeah. So like if you can find and like spy on Sulon, the humanoid who can talk to us, maybe we can at least let them know that we're trying to look out for them. And maybe they'll talk at you a little bit if we can find them. So that's my pitch.
Sulan the
even if-
humanoid, you mean like the right, the
I don't remember what they just told us to call them Sulan.
Yeah.
Not what
How does
was.
your
I think there
brain
was
thing
an
work? It's in
actual
your head,
proper
right?
name of one of them. The Hive told you to call them Sulan, but I think there is an actual.
There is,
proper
but they
name
told us to call them Sulan, I believe.
Okay.
Also, hold on.
so
Yeah, I cannot remember, and I
look
don't.
at it.
yeah, there's no guarantee I can get in direct communication with the caretakers again, but I mean, it's worth a shot. If not, then I can start poking around Sulan, places we've been, to see what it looks like on the ground for people there before we just go.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
Yeah, I have written character tag Sulan, individual joined to Hive.
I'm pretty sure there was a
believe they
proper
just
name in there
told us that.
somewhere, but yeah.
There was the humanoid Sulan was their name was Aramis,
Mm-hmm.
but we called them Sulan.
Mhm.
Yeah, Aramis.
And the only reason I specified is because I think most of the joined individuals would
Or all called.
Sulan.
yeah.
So like that's
The
why I
Hive
was
is called Sulan.
yeah
Yes,
that's why I was specifying.
Yes.
But yeah.
I had to go back to the other notebook for that one.
That's right. I will also say, not that you can't do the plan that you're going to do right now, but I will say that ability that you have, Olivia, I think is better suited for like gathering specific information, not general information.
Yeah.
So like, but what I'm saying is
other things.
huh?
I think we're gonna eventually do other things. I think our first, I think this is
No,
just
I
one
understand
step.
that. What I'm saying is it's best used when you know what specific information you're looking for.
Yeah.
Not for just generally like what's it like there.
I don't have the ability.
Yeah, but I mean, well, the way it works is that I can just look at a specific place. So I was thinking that like I could look like where
No.
I viewed the Hive before to see like how they're doing, if they've been, if they've been attacked, like if there's damage to the location.
Sure.
How the.
Yeah, I understand the intent behind what you're doing. What I'm saying is you're not going to get anything actionable from just generally gathering information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you had like a specific plan and you're like, "Oh, I want to see what it looks like in this place," like what that specific place looks like so that for a purpose, I think it will be more useful to you. Like I understand how the ability works and I understand your intent behind it. What I'm telling you is that like just generally looking in on Sulan and seeing like, oh, what's the state of things there isn't gonna really help necessarily.
I figured we were gonna pick specific locations. That was kind of
right, but to what end is my point? That's what I'm. That's what I'm
I
getting
figured
at.
that would be eventually. That's what we would be doing. I just figured this is where we were starting.
I assume that what we're going to be doing is Pete's gonna drop their time points, I don't know what it's called, in the spot where they last spoke to one of the members of the Hive, and hope that there's a caretaker there, and just like have them speak at her. And if that doesn't work, then I think we can just like try and jump to this location that we know is secluded, especially if like we jump to the place where Peach
But also, if we want, that's what I was thinking too. If we want to go to Sulan physically, then I can make sure the location is a safe place.
I think that was the plan.
That's what I was trying to get at, right? Which is like if you're just going there to just say, "Oh, what's it like on Sulan right now?" Then there's not much that you're gonna get out of that besides.
I also do want to see how the people in general on Sulan are like handling this occupation. Like that was also something I was curious about, but like that's kind of I guess a more vague question. Like I wanted to like what are they doing in the mall right now? Like I'm just curious, but obviously that's not.
Like is the marketplace empty? Like the bazaar that we went to, or there's probably no one there, but just be whatever.
Yeah, but so. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Can you spy on Aramis specifically, or is it location based?
It's location based.
Okay,
it's not an individual.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Well, I think that all of our network of spy, like Revorza wouldn't have any information on this, right? Have we gotten any information from her on Sulan at all, or is she kind of still scattered from the?
I know Becca said that they have some info for us
Becker
once
has
you
info. Yeah, do we just want
get
to go
back?
like share info first and then go from there?
At least from Becker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
We
then
should
sure.
hear what
other
Becker has
stuff.
to say. Yeah.
Before we go that, I know this, you said there's no point, but I do just want to look on the caretakers, because from my point of view, I'm like, they are being that is what the corpse are seeking. So I want to make sure the corpse haven't found them. Because that's their whole
Sure.
reason for being there.
No, that's fair. I understand
So
that.
I want to
but,
just go
like,
to where I've seen them last.
Right, but so that's fair. You can do that. You can absolutely do that.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure that you are understanding the situation so that you don't waste your time or your abilities.
Okay.
So this is not me telling you don't do this. I'm just like making sure that you understand the situation.
It's okay. My edge eats it. It's totally free.
Cool, fair. But what I will say is you don't know where to find the caretakers. Like, you know
Okay.
where you have seen individual caretakers before.
That's
but
what they're saying. They just want to see if they can.
Right, but I
if
don't know that
yeah.
would that be a representative, like, that I'm not sure that would be representative of how they're doing in general. So like she's hoping, I think, is what she's saying, is she's just shot in the Sure.
dark. That's basically what I'm getting from.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if I look and it's just a dark cave, then that's
Then it's just a
fine.
dark
I
cave,
just
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
look before we went,
Mm-hmm.
so that if there's intelligence of like, hey, the corporations have demolished a bunch of shit in here, or like, oh,
Mhm.
there's evidence of fighting, like something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a shot in the dark scry, basically, is what I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. No, like, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that, because I also was trying to, like, I didn't fully understand what you were trying to accomplish.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. I mean, like, with a quick, like, use of your ability. I mean, you look in. I assume you're looking in on sort of like the maintenance levels.
Yeah, specifically where I spoke with them last. That's
Sure,
where I want to
yeah.
look.
Yeah, looking in there, I mean, you can see there are caretakers sort of moving about the area distantly. Nobody in close, like, proximity to you, but you can see that they are there. They appear to continue to be continuing their work, which makes sense. A lot of what, not that anybody knows this specifically, but it is very much assumed by the people of Sulan that much of what makes Sulan livable is like the caretakers are required for what upkeep on everything that makes Sulan livable, like its atmosphere, its artificial gravity, all of that sort of stuff, because nobody but the caretakers actually know how any of that works, or where it came from, for that matter. So or where it is located. So yeah, so like, they, at least in that, just from like watching them work from your perspective, you're gathering that while the corps are definitely interested in them and what they are hiding, they also can't really afford to do anything to them, or else risk Sulan becoming just completely unlivable.
Okay, and
So-
it's good. It doesn't seem like there's been any kind of like direct interference
Not really,
of them yet.
at least not from if there has
not
been,
from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, if there has been, at least on the maintenance levels, things look entirely unchanged, as far as that goes.
Okay.
It doesn't look a whole lot different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do Peach's eyes like glaze over or do anything fancy when Peach is looking off into these places? Because Mason
Yeah.
would be looking and just curious what Mason sees.
Yeah, no. It depends on like what ability she's using, but with this one specifically, yeah. So her eyes kind of get this like almost like little film over them, like this kind of like not like a thick white film, but like almost translucent, and it's like she's looking up at something that just, it almost looks like her eyes are rolling back in her head, but like not quite. And then they kind of like settle back. Doesn't look like the corpse have figured out anything about the caretakers, at least in a way that is damaging enough to hurt their operations. So that's good. They didn't seem to notice me this time, or if they did, they didn't have anything to say.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like we're still good to go, but we should still operate with some amount of haste, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hopefully whatever Beck has to say could help enlighten us a bit to have a more concrete plan. Maybe even if Mira says anything that can fill in any holes or gaps that Becca could help out as well.
Oh, I hope so.
touch
Yeah.
base and make plans from there. Tentatively, we're gonna go do some ground surveillance.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
all right.
It's always Sulon.
I mean,
Get
the
there.
one that openly supported us, it kind of makes sense.
Well, let's hope Becker has some excellent news.
Yeah. We
Uh,
fly to
yeah.
the big ship.
All right. So as you approach Wire's freighter, you notice that there is Wire's freighter and also the derelict, which are basically both like sort of orbiting together. You notice that there is another much smaller ship, like smaller than Awakener even, that is docked to Wire's vessel via docking corridor, and it's not a vehicle that you recognize, but it is there, sort of flying in keeping pace with Wire's ship's orbit. But as you fly in, the hangar doors open and you are permitted to land. As you touch down, as you finish touching down, Alma looks around and says, "Okay, looks like we're connected. We're down. It's safe to move, I suppose."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good.
Let's see what Becca has to say.
See who's here too.
Yeah. I didn't recognize that ship, did any of you?
Mm-mm.
As you
The head look for people.
yeah, as you disembark from Awakener onto the larger vessel, you looking around the hangar, it is mostly empty except for you do see an individual who you recognize, but who the last time you saw him, it was not on this ship. You see the large but not particularly imposing figure of Mr. the Inevitable, as he sort of sees you all coming and strides over and says, "Welcome back."
Hello. When did you get
Good
here?
to see you.
Not terribly long ago. It was pretty easy actually for me to figure out where you all might have gone, given the situation at hand.
Is anybody with you?
That is an affirmative. We have the whole team is here,
The whole
And-
team.
including your
Oh.
brother. Yes.
Incredible.
Oh, good news.
Yes.
I think we have to do a show and tell.
Everyone has been waiting for you to arrive. I'm not exactly sure about. I mean, we have been briefed on your operations and movements by Becker, and we are aware of the situation and tentative plans. We're here to help as much as we can.
Perfect. Then I guess we're just here to hear whatever Becca has to say. It seems like they've got some news as well. You're going to be joining us?
That is correct. I will join you. We should head on up to the bridge. That's where everybody is right
join
now.
the crew.
Yeah. So you all make your way. You all make your way up there, up to the bridge, where Becker is indeed there. Notably, Zaya is not there. Neither is Wire. But Sedona is there, as well as the members of the team that was sent to Anzelon Prime, including Vix, who, as you walk in, Peach stands up and walks over and just sort of hugs you. Just you know,
Yeah.
says, "Hey, told you we'd be coming soon."
Good to see you kept your word.
Yeah.
And she just like pats him. She like kind of pats him on the back and the hug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He smiles and looks around at the rest of you and says, "Hey, welcome back."
You look a lot older. Like, looks very sullen in the cheeks. Are you good? So you've aged like 10 years. You didn't have to do that much work.
Well, you know, I like to keep everybody on their toes.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. And he
You know,
just,
elbows Tan is like, for an Anselonian, 10 years is not, that wasn't that big of a dig.
I'm
lived for
sorry,
so
I'm a
long.
camera. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Just, as a
Yeah, I'll keep that in
shorter
mind.
one shorter lifespan person to another.
I'll keep that in mind.
Mason, as you kind of glance around the room, you see the Anzalonian woman Silar, who is like has her hair currently is like braided in sort of like one long braid down the side in front of her that she's sort of like playing with, and as you walk in, she smiles and nods to you.
I just nod as well.
Mhm.
A very like sage nod or wry smile. Words aren't working right now.
It's one of those expressions. It's one of those.
Acknowledged.
Yeah. You also see several other members of the team, including Bowen Eastman, who is like leaning over one of the consoles, listening to Becker. And as you all step in the room, Becker says, "Hey, you're good. You're back. Well, I was just getting briefed on the situation on Anzalon Prime.
Any additional news updates?
Nothing, no change in the situation there, other than, according to the team here, it seems like there's still no official governmental response to any of this, other than to try to consolidate and."
How is that even possible?
Vix shrugs and says, "From what we could gather, it seems like a lot of them got hit in the attack. Nobody's really sure who's. They're still trying to figure out who's still alive, let alone the chain of command. So it's chaos on the ground, and we're not sure who's alive and who's not, and who is alive but in hiding or in protection. We don't know. Neither do they. It's chaos, which I'm guessing is what the corpse wanted."
Yeah, sounds like it. I don't think there are many governments built with this in mind, so I guess it makes sense.
Silar shrugs and says, "At the very least, there are a lot of community leaders that are springing up in various areas of the city, trying to keep what order they can, but even they have a limited reach."
Yeah. Oh God, what is the corpse thinking? Do you have anything else to tell us, Becca? You seem to have some news.
I mean, mostly the update was this one, that the team had returned. But
Okay.
yeah, as far as I've had brief communications from some of the other resistance ships, but nothing. Mostly, they're all trying to do kind of what we're doing: consolidate, reassess, and evaluate.
No other intel on Sulan.
Not as of yet, no.
We're thinking about going.
I figured
Yeah.
that might be the next move. So,
Is there anyone particularly suited and or interested in doing that, or should we keep the operation small?
I mean,
I
I think
definitely-
as small as we can for initial recon.
for recon,
last
yes.
thing we need is
Any kind of larger operation of the liberation of Sulan, there's no way to do that without. It's not exactly jumping onto an enemy ship and taking out their drive.
Do you need to rest? I turn to Tan.
I think I'm good. Take a bit of a breather, so I have enough juice left to take us there and back if we need to, and Peach where to carry the rest of the way if I can't.
Something we need to be aware of is some of these places. Seems like the corporations have figured out a way to block some of our capabilities. So we just need to keep an eye on that, because if we go into Sulan, have no way of getting out, that could be a bit of a tricky situation. So we just need to have another exit plan.
Yeah, because
But
Hotwire ship.
that's kind of
Right.
what I was thinking.
yeah,
Just something we need to keep in mind.
because they definitely had that ready to outfit your ships with a way to emit essentially what was radioactive particles to stop me at the very least from teleporting out. That's not something you can do overnight.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure how they figured it out either. I didn't even know that would be an issue until very recently. So I don't know what that means. But yeah, definitely something we should keep in mind.
There
Well,
is
Plan C. We do it old school, and she like slaps her tool belt and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
Becker shrugs, says the possibility exists that that kind of technology that they employed against you at the assault of the resistance base was purely due to the connection to this Onira person.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, which seems likely, it means that there's a good chance they haven't yet thought to send it throughout, like apply the upgrades across all their fleets.
Yeah, that would take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as these individuals in power suits that you encountered, though, that does seem much more likely that they'll have on hand.
I think we can.
Great.
Yeah, but I
Not
think
like
we can
those.
handle them. We'll have to be. We won't be able to rely on your invisibility, since they could clearly see us. So we'll just have to try as hard as we can to stay out of sight.
On the plus side, Sulon's a lot easier place to keep out of sight than a ship, so...
Yeah.
We've
They
done
don't
it
have
before.
their setup there. Like, it's not. Sulon isn't corp tech. Sulon is Sulon, and they're also corps are also there. So theoretically, they'll have more blind spots than, or more shadowy areas for us to stay out of their sight than on a ship, which is entirely corp.
Yeah.
I know that we have a lot of recon to do before we can make any kind of actionable plan, but I think that this reclamation of Sulon, I think this might be that the moment that we need to seize upon to go public with the entirety of their resistance. I mean, people are in chaos. Governments are torn apart. They need to know what's going on.
I agree.
They need to know there's people fighting for them.
I agree. Not only that, but we could strike a devastating blow if we were able to capture Director Trethaway.
That is a brilliant idea.
That's something. At the very least, gives us some kind of bargaining power.
We have to take apart their leadership, otherwise they're just going to keep planning strikes.
I agree. And if we show the galaxy that the resistance isn't just a strong word that we put at the beginning of a ragtag group of nobodies on the edge of the galaxy, other people might be willing to take up the fight themselves.
Hey, how is everyone feeling? Are they ready to do this now? Do you need rest?
Becker kind of glances around. Vix shrugs and says, "We didn't get here that long ago, but I mean, if you need recon will take a minute, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm feeling all right, but he like looks over and you can see where like one of the team, a Skoru, that or sorry, not a Skoru, a Nelfin that you know as Topher. He basically has his arm in a sling, and Vix says some of the recovery efforts got pretty rough, and some of us got a little banged up, but and so a few could use some recovery, maybe an experienced.
Our best doctor. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say experienced medical personnel. Abriel nods, says, "I'll get right on it," and she walks over to Topher and says, "Let me see the arm," and just immediately starts like.
I want to go over to Topher and Abra and say, "Do you mind if I aid a little bit here?"
By all means, go ahead.
And I'm gonna use repair flesh to at least help a little bit with this. My edge eats up entirely, so I can just do this. Obviously, he's not a player, so it doesn't really matter.
Right,
they get to add +3 to recovery roll, and then
Okay.
recover with that. But
yeah, you can see as like immediately kind of Topher looks up at you and just sort of like removes the sling for a moment and just sort of stretches out his arm and just sort of, it's better.
Yeah, might not be 100%, so still definitely listen to April, but hopefully it'll speed up your recovery.
Thanks.
No problem.
Silar looks around and says, I can go too if you need someone.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
What are we capping this crew at? Do some of us need to stay? I don't know who's good for this. I don't know.
I would definitely prefer if all of us, and I point to Peach, Bina, and Mason, I think I'd definitely be comfortable if all of us definitely came along. I can bring up to 5 people on my own, not including me, so 5 extra people on my own. And I think with Vix and who was the other one that said they could go?
Solar.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 people, so I can do that pretty easily.
Cool. Is that small enough? Are we good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think we should get any bigger than that.
Yeah.
Are we going in disguise? Is that our goal? Or should we?
If you can disguise us, that seems definitely down your alley, Peach. That would be perfect. I think disguise and still in stealth, just in case.
Silar just sort of says, I can handle any kind of cameras and things like that if we need to. Turns out surveillance equipment is pretty sensitive to sonic disturbances.
Oh,
Love that.
that would be very helpful.
What do we have in way of like resources for clothing? Like, what is like? Do we have things that like? I don't know what I'm trying to ask here. Something to put on that would make us more inconspicuous on.
I mean, there are definitely like maintenance like jumpsuits and stuff
Okay,
like that
yeah,
around here that you can easily find. But that's probably about the extent of it, other than your own
That's fair.
wardrobes. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Which is probably does not consist of much since we fled.
Yeah, pretty
Home
quickly.
base in a
Yeah.
hurry.
Yeah, I have like a non-military suit. I guess I'm
You're
more or less
fine.
good.
But
But
it's just neutrally dark colors and just hope for the best.
yeah, and Peach, if you can change how we look at all, I'm not entirely sure if that's. I've seen you manifest objects before. don't know
I
if
was
you can.
actually just wondering because I was like, I don't think I've ever like given us a disguise before, but I don't see why I couldn't.
I feel like there is a specific ability that a speaker can get that does.
But not like a physical disguise. Like I
Right.
couldn't actually make us look different. It would be an illusion. Like
Illusion, yeah.
it would have to be a let's see. Yeah, so like I can create a scene, a creature, or an object. So and I could move it with us. So basically, what I could do is I could like make it look like something else was there instead of us. I think is really what I could do. Like I could have it following us. I'd have to redo it every minute, so it'd be kind of annoying. But it would be. I mean, it's a free ability.
Sure.
But it would take some like concentration.
Yeah.
So
I
probably.
see that as a like a.
But I don't know
In
if
a
it would be the
pinch.
most effective.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
probably the sort of thing that you do mainly like when you already know what the environment is
Yeah,
and like.
yeah.
Are
Yeah,
there,
we can't do it now. Yeah. Okay. Everyone had you all armed and ready because if we do run into trouble, it'll probably be best to have some kind of weaponry.
Is your shield up?
Yeah, Vix just like pats the electro saber at his side and then just sort of like picks up the large rifle that he often has and just sort of shoulders it. Says, "Yeah, I've also been practicing with well, here, check this out." He's like, "I was gonna keep it as a surprise, but I'm very excited about it." And then Taeyeon, you watch as he like pulls like a ball bearing out of his pouch and then just drops it, and then you watch as it like hits the ground, and then you see as this sort of like very slight, almost aurora like energy starts like manifesting around his fingertips, and the ball bearing just sort of in perfect reversal of how it fell goes right back into his hand.
Rita claps with all 4 hands.
Taeyeon like has a moment of like you can definitely tell like Bina can definitely feel it of like impressed, but he just tries very hard not to show on his face.
Yeah, Vix
goes-
definitely felt it and smirks
yeah,
at
Vix
you.
can feel
Yeah,
it.
who got yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, Okay, yeah. You still got a lot of work to do, but you know, you might have potential.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be jumping timelines anytime soon, but I figured.
Yeah, we should avoid that, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I would not recommend that.
Before we go, Mr. the Inevitable.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he still here with us?
Mhm.
Our little friend Jade would like your counsel at some point if you have a free moment.
Yeah, he looks over at Jade and says, "Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have I have powers now, and I can manipulate energy, but I'm not really sure the extent of it." Really? Now that's very interesting. Have you looked into thermodynamics? I was just reading about them. They just like basically go off like.
Okay, now I'm good to go.
Okay.
Ready when you are.
Is there somewhere that we would think would be abandoned or easier to access without just being?
You've been down, Tan. Have you been down in the maintenance ways where, like the maintenance underground?
I mean, I can take us there if that's where
true.
we
You
want to
can.
go.
Oh yeah, you can take us there.
That
might be the place to start.
I can tell you one place that is probably abandoned that you've all been to before, and that's Wire's Clubhouse.
That's true.
Yeah. Good
Oh,
times.
perfect.
Good times.
Perfect.
I think Tail would definitely jump there.
Yeah, I want to start there.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
a good location.
Let's come full circle, baby.
So yeah, just put a hand on everyone that you can,
Wait.
and then like get everyone else to put a hand on him, and then he's gonna jump using traverse worlds.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know that any of you have quite traveled this far before using this, so like.
No.
Normally when Taeon has done this, it has if you basically watched almost like you are seeing like through a tunnel, almost like you're looking through a spyglass, but like all around you as like the area that you're traveling to gets suddenly closer, like space folds in on itself as you just step across. And the same thing is happening here, but it is infinitely more bizarre when you're talking about an area that is completely across the galaxy from where you are. It is strange because you are seeing in an instant as star fields, planets, gas clouds, novas, everything just sort of shoot past you as you rush through it, almost like you're going through. It almost actually does look like what it looks like when you travel through conduits, but like much faster. And all of a sudden you see on the other end of this space tunnel, you can see the little room where you first met Wire, and you just step through together, suddenly there, and turn just in time to see the tunnel sort of collapse behind you.
Healing counted.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Looks kind of sad without all of.
Yeah, it is completely dark
stuff.
in this room, very empty. Yeah, you can see like where there's like cables and stuff that are still hanging from the ceiling, where like things were hastily disconnected. Parts of Wire's old setup are still here, like some of the monitors and things like that, the things that she wasn't able to move quickly. So you can still see a lot of this stuff that's here. It doesn't look like it's been touched since you came. I mean,
Good.
I was just going to investigate it.
Yeah, you can take a closer look. The layer of dust that's sort of settled everywhere makes it seem like there probably has not been anybody in here in quite a long time.
Mason even like does the bit where he like takes it, like goes like that to some dust and is like, no one's been here for a while. I think we're safe.
Yeah.
Do we know if any of this is noteworthy enough to take back with us?
I'm gonna look for ciphers. Behind in the
Okay,
rush.
is that okay? I think that's good. I think that's a great way to end the episode. Is just like looking for ciphers. Let's
I have room for a cipher.
I think I do too.
I cannot believe that we were just brought here, and this is
I
where
love
we
how
just met.
I love how I
Taeyeon.
specifically
Right, yeah.
I specifically said at the beginning of this episode,
Who
don't
do-
make me pull out my book because
We
it's at the
did
bottom of the
say
pile. And I love that you did it anyway. So
I even jokingly
forgot
said
about
like,
that.
"Hey guys, find ciphers immediately.
Well, I'll have you know, my book wasn't at the bottom of the pile. It was in the middle of the pile. So we're...
Damn it.
That's
My
not
plan
bad.
failed.
That's not bad.
I specifically don't have room for another cipher because I refuse to give up my level 8 diplomatic mouthwash.
You know what?
Oh no! Wait, do I still have mouthwash?
I think I gave mine to like the general ship
That's
because one of mine is just a stasis
incredible.
pod, and like I can't carry that around with me. Like
I
that
can
should
still
be in the medical bay. Like
I think I can take one more. Let me check. Yeah, I can take one more.
All right.
I have a very cool one I keep forgetting I have.
Let me get this.
I'm keeping a mouthwash for it just come in clutch one day. Just one day,
Yeah.
I just throw it into the right machinery to just fuck it up.
All right.
I want to know what's going on Sulan so bad, you guys.
So I'm gonna have everybody who's looking
Yeah.
roll a. This is gonna be an intellect task, and the difficulty of it is going to be 3.
Okay.
Perception. Investigation.
Mhm.
It'll be 3. I'll just use one level of effort to bump it down to 2, and then roll.
Sure, sounds good.
I'll
19.
just-
Okay, yeah. That's...
19 as well.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Heck
I'm gonna
yeah.
say each of you find and actually I'll say on a minor effect, I'll say that any ciphers that you find are 1 level higher than whatever you roll them to be.
Okay.
I spent 1 level of effort just so you know, and then I just rolled and I got a 7, so I scraped on by.
so you did it, just barely, but you did it. You got there.
Yeah.
Great. And Caitlin, you weren't looking, right?
No, I can't hold another one, but I'm
Okay.
glowing to make it brighter.
Sounds good. All right. Cool. All right. So then, let's see. I think. You know what? Sure. Let's have all of you then roll a D100. This is like my favorite thing. Everybody rolling on charts. I love
Heck
it.
yeah.
I love it so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
I rolled a 47.
Ooh. Okay. 47.
Rolled.
Oh my God. That's a very good thing for Peach to have. Okay. Olivia, go ahead and also roll a. Hold on. Let me just make sure that you actually have to do that. Oops, too far. This is the part where everybody learns that Lucas doesn't know how the alphabet works and can't find stuff.
A, B, C.
You were just thinking ahead. all the
Yeah.
time.
So Olivia, go ahead and roll a d6 and add 2.
Okay. 6.
Okay. So this is a level 6 cipher. It is basically like a sonic pulse device that is it is called a mental scrambler.
Oh, great.
God.
And interesting. Each mental
Perfect.
scrambler is keyed to a specific effect. So I'm gonna have you roll another D100.
Oh,
I love when
cool.
rolling on charts makes you roll on more charts. It's literally
Mhm.
I know it
Love it.
sounds like I'm
Exactly.
being sarcastic, but I mean that sincerely. I love it so
four-
much.
14.
14.
It's really fun. It's like true randomness.
Mm-hmm. So this scrambler seems to be basically a stun effect. So when you use it, victims can't act. The victims of it cannot act.
Cool.
Ooh.
For
Let's see.
Like-
It's the effect the effect lasts as long as they remain in the field and for 1d6 rounds after.
oh, cool.
Although
Oh my God.
although an intellect defense roll is allowed each round to act normally.
Okay.
But I don't think that like ends the effects. I think it allows them to act normally on that round, and then they still have to do
Oh,
it
They
the
have to do
next.
it again.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
God, that is
Awesome.
powerful.
Does the level-
it's like
does the-
confusion basically. It's like the
Yeah.
D&D spell confusion.
Does the level matter?
The level
or...
the level does matter because it's what you're using the level of the cipher versus the target of the level
Okay,
of the
cool.
target. So yeah, the level does
Cool,
matter.
cool. Perfect. That
alright.
is gonna be great in a pinch when I'm out of.
Yeah,
if I'm
that's a
running low on
level 6
intellect.
cipher. That's nothing. That's not nothing. That's
Yeah.
All right, Drac,
That's a
what did
good
you
one.
roll? On the
So a D100, I rolled a 14.
14.
I like the idea that Wire just has these items just like
If
in the
anybody was
debris.
gonna have them,
Yeah, that's how I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for ciphers.
yeah, exactly. Okay, all right, that's a fun name of something. You always seem to end up with these types of ciphers. This is called this is a device that is basically a like it is like a placeable flame projector that is called an inferno wall.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a.
It's got like explosives.
Give me a 1d6 plus 2 for the level.
1d6 plus 2. Okay. 6.
6.
Is that plus another one because of the minor
Oh yeah,
effect?
plus another one for the. That's right.
Oh, so yeah, so 7, 9.
9 total. Okay, great. So yeah, this is a level 9 cipher that creates a wall of extreme heat, up to 30 feet by 30 feet, by 1 foot, that inflicts damage equal to the cipher's level on anything that passes through it. The wall conforms to the space available, and then
What's the level?
It's a level 9. It's a lot. That's a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then.
So it lasts for 10
really
minutes.
well.
It lasts for 10 minutes. So
10
Alright.
minutes.
Mhm.
I would like to
Okay.
point out we just did roll a level 6 cipher and then a level 9 cipher, so good celebration of our 60th
Oh, hey.
episode, everybody.
Yeah, we did.
Holy shit.
It was the D100 cards are letting us celebrate our 69th episode.
These are some really
Thank
good
you.
ciphers for what we're about to do. Let's
That's also
just
very
say.
Yeah.
All right, Freeman, you rolled as well, right? What did you get?
48.
48.
Yes.
Okay. Depending, I might have you roll again. Actually, roll that one again.
Oh. Or not.
Because like we could double up on stuff, but it's way more fun if we don't.
I feel like I rolled. Okay, what? Oh my gosh! I rolled 2 dice, the D100s, and they rolled behind my iPad, and then one rolled behind it, and one rolled like behind, like it's hard to show. Wow, it's not showing up. It rolled in
Into
here. One of them rolled in between the keyboard and the
Good,
tablet.
good. Very
Did
useful.
I count it?
I
Only if it's 69.
It's
Yeah,
not, so I'm
okay.
gonna re-roll.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I love that this is the criteria for.
Yeah.
64.
Oh.
So
Okay.
close.
64. All right.
No, not
Um,
everything can follow the law.
I know.
69.
I know. Okay. Is that what that? Yes. So this is. Go ahead and give me another D6. And add 4. And yes, that is including the minor effect.
$10.
Okay, this is a level
Whoa.
10 cipher.
Because I rolled a 6.
my
It is a device that can attach to a belt and be activated at any time, called a null field. The user and all creatures within immediate range gain +5 to armor against damage of a specific kind for 1 hour. Now go ahead and roll another D100 so that you can determine which specific kind of damage.
Cool.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry, another D100?
Yep.
Okay. 12.
12. It's fire. Fire damage.
So we can go through the wall of fire.
Yeah, you could smoke bomb the
That's
wall of fire. And just
incredible.
Take no damage.
That's incredible.
Imagine that with Dina's power stacked, the armor.
God.
15
What?
armor.
What page is that on? Sorry, so I can...
It's on page 357.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that's what y'all found.
That is so cool.
That is ridiculous.
And that's like what? A level, what was it?
Level
Like
10
11
cipher.
damage?
10.
Level 10, yeah. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it protects again. It gives you 5 armor against that type of damage. So like, yeah, so like for an hour, you and all creatures within immediate range of you. It's basically like a force field projector that like projects in the sort of immediate area, that protects you and other creatures in that space from 5 points of fire damage. So for an hour.
There'll be firefighters for an episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Mason is even more
Right? Yeah.
resilient.
Cool. So as y'all sort of rummage around trying to find whatever wire might have left behind in the mad scramble to ditch this place, you start finding some useful items. Some items that are useful that you can carry with you, some that are useful but you probably cannot carry with you. But as you're sort of looking around, you can see that Vix, who had already sort of like left, kind of gone upstairs to her sort of street level while you were looking around, comes back down and he says, "It looks pretty clear up topside. As far as I could tell, I mean, I didn't go far, but the alleyway at least is deserted. I'm not sure about the streets just yet, but from the sounds, I don't know. It sounds weirdly normal."
Okay.
Good. It'll make it easier to move out and about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just keep to the alleyways and see what we can see.
Sounds good. I'll guess I'll lead us up.
Yeah.
All right. He looks up the stairs as you make your way out that way, and then starts climbing. And as you all climb up, making your way up to street level of Sulon to perform reconnaissance for the inevitable assault on this place, that's where we're going to pick up next time.
My God, Nicholas, I'm so stressed.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
That's like what our next episode will be.
Yeah. Sneak.
All right,
Oh
everybody.
my God.
Because we're historically great at
We're
being
so-
stealthy.
I'm great at it. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, everybody.
Ooh.
We
Hmm.
will be back next week at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the continuation of this. Thank you, everybody who came and hung out. Everybody who stuck with us after the raid. Thank you so much for hanging out. And again, thank you, Stella Luna, for the raid. Always appreciate seeing you here.
Excuse me.
Just some quick reminders from the top of the episode. If you are a member of the Patreon, our media club list recommendations list just went up last night, so you should be able to see them there. If you haven't not seen them already, they're their series of media recommendations, the things that the staff and crew have been reading, watching, listening to, playing, etc. over the past month. They're all in there, so you can excuse me, you can check that out there. We just finished recording one of our newest additions to Patreon, our Beyond the Roll, a series of little side shots. Is that what we're gonna call them? I don't know. Little like short adventures little short adventures that are following characters from familiar and new from some previous stuff that we've done that we wouldn't necessarily have time to do during our regular streaming time. So you can catch the first one, which is Cyberpunk Red, following Freeman's character from Thunder and Blood, Jace, and a new character, Cam Phantasmic, the rocker boy.
Thunder and Blood! Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So you can check out their chaotic adventures soon. They're not up yet. We still got to do some editing and stuff like that, but they will be posted very soon, within the next couple of weeks. So you'll see them up there. You'll get notified about them, and yeah, you'll get to see that coming. Otherwise, the rest of the week is a regular, normal week. We have Ramblemancy on Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, where it's going to be a casual ramble like we've done many times before. There's no specific topic in mind, but when has that ever stopped us?
Never.
And then, of course, Into Deep returns next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time with special guest Drac, who will be there to bring some chaos to the stream. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun
because they definitely don't have enough chaos as it is right now.
They clearly don't. Yeah,
not enough.
Clearly,
Gotta add more.
Yeah. So y'all be able to catch that on Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. So yeah, hopefully we will see you on Friday for Ramblemancy.
Happy,
Yes.
Happy Valentine's Day. We love you all.
Yes,
Happy
happy
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day.
Happy
Valentine's Day.
69th episode of Infinite
Happy
Horizon.
68th episode.
Nice.
And goes great with Valentine's Day.
The postponement was on
Yeah.
purpose, actually.
Right, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wednesdays aren't cursed. They were helping us out.
It was to be
Exactly.
thematically
Yeah.
strong.
Right, precisely. It was all done on purpose, all part of an elaborate scheme. We'll see you on Friday, hopefully, for Ramblemancy, but if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody. I should have had this ready. I did not. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.